Ah, yes. Welcome, everyone. It is time, of course, for the High Noon Hemp Show, which means it's noon Eastern Time on a Wednesday. I expect to hear the sirens. It is the first Wednesday of the month. The sirens heralding our arrival, but I do not hear them yet. Someone's not on the ball, as seems to be the case a lot with those sirens. But that's neither here nor there. That's not my problem. My problem and your problem, it's not really a problem, it's the High Noon Hemp Show. Of course, you can find it every single week, live video on demand. Of course, the Temptations Beach Facebook page, the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and at Temptations on Twitter. There they go.
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
It's a little late.
Ladder going off.
And of course, you want the podcast, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Podbean. Just search the High Noon Hemp Show, and you can get us in our audio glory. I am Stoner Jesus. You can search various things I do on the interwebs, on the various search engines, on said interwebs. He is Beach, high above the Temptations in Sharonville, Ohio, at the Hemp Quarters. How are things this week on another sweltering day in the world of Temptations, Beach?
The alarms are going off here. So they signaled the start of the High Noon Hemp Show. It's true. I am high above the Sharonville location, what I call Planet Everywhere Studios, for this week's High Noon Hemp Show. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And remember, the FDA has not evaluated the show for safety or efficacy.
That's right.
Just so you know. Yes, it's going to be another warm one here in the old Cincinnati, Ohio region. So thanks, everybody, for watching. If you're watching live, if you're watching later, thanks for watching then, no matter what. The rumor is, and I watch the YouTube feed, that the best signal and best picture and best place to do that is on YouTube. But if you're on Facebook, that's cool too. Enjoy the show. You probably don't want to see me like really clear. It's not like, I have a face for radio. That's why the podcast does so well.
That's right.
I've been mentioning it, and I don't know how we got to do this, but Apple now has a podcast app that is automatically on your phone. And I just discovered, but the High Noon Hemp Show is not on it. So we're gonna have to do some research there. And
yeah, I've submitted to iTunes in the past, and they have not been favorable as of yet. But I'll give it another shot. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, come on. We got 180 episodes here.
That's right.
Apple.
We're just talking about hemp. It's like there's no cussing. There's no.
Yeah.
It's about PG's hits. I mean, come on.
I think I have been upset enough to cuss like twice on the show the entire time, and so, I'm sure if we get a complaint on that, then we'll go beep it out somehow. Oh shoot! I try to keep it clean for the kids, even though I truly believe there are no bad words. There are only words used in bad ways.
Right.
So, anyway, that being said, let's get on with the product spotlight. We got lots of really cool, interesting news again this week. Keeping it real here on the High Noon Hemp Show, that's for sure. The first product is the THCCO. The THCO is gaining popularity ever so quickly. We sell it in vape form as well, but it's the customers are really liking their THCO stuff, no doubt about it. How about some hemp honey soap? We got a decently new. I almost got a reorder again. We just got this in, and we sell a lot of soap. I'm really happy about that. It's good. It's a time in the world when I encourage hand washing. Before I wasn't the huge hand washing, and again, it's kind of back to where it was. To be safe during flu season and cold season, and now COVID, just wash your hands. Especially if you're going to be touching a bunch of stuff other people are touching.
Yeah,
just makes sense. So get yourself some hemp honey soap. Keep your hands clean. We also have CBD hand sanitizer still. So anyway, how about some top hand gloves? If you're out there in this hot summer doing some gardening, some farming, or general want to keep your hands safe type of stuff. Top hand gloves. Now this is the inventory in the Sharonville location. This is where I usually take my picks for the product spotlight. And so if you go into your local location and we don't have your size or whatnot, then tell them to call Sharonville and just see. we might have it here and we can get it shipped there for you, one way or another.
There you go.
And then the last but not least is Earth Dog. Again, Earth Dog does the leashes, they do harnesses, they do collars. They are, very popular in the pet world, not just the hemp world, but the pet world. I think I recently on the show, maybe could have been 6 months ago, but they were on the list as the eco-friendly option for pet supplies. And so, and of course that's true because they use hemp. And again, no chemicals used to grow the hemp. Definitely not as much water as it would to make a cotton lead. And they're going to last longer, no doubt about it. I will say our Dobie's gone through a couple collars, but she's a 90-pound dog that doesn't get held back by anything more than her choke collar if we have to put that on her, which I try to avoid. So a regular collar, man, if she sees the deers in the front yard, she'll wear down a hemp collar faster than anything. But she has had the same collar pretty much since we've been on the farm, and trust me, she goes after the animal. She can't get anywhere because he's on a lead, but she puts the pressure on that hemp collar. She stresses it to its limits. I would say so. If you're in need of a new leash or a collar, maybe you're getting a dog, make it a hemp one. Make it a hemp one. This next one, again, we all know how much I love composite. We could replace 60 to 70% of the plastic in the world with hemp composite. Totally sustainable. These are just my personal desk hemp accessories, I guess I'd like to call them. As you can see, got a pen holder and then got a card holder, holds a pen as well, personalized. These are Green Spring technology, as you have seen if you watch the show. I think there's only been one episode so far that I can remember, except for maybe at the beginning of the seasons when we first started over almost 3 years ago, I guess. My Green Springs pen, which I carry with me every day, and then of course I have backups everywhere too. And so I think you can still order some stuff from Green Springs Technology. Mark Linday passed away. Man, that's probably been a year ago, which is just sad to think about. And he was the pioneer behind Green Springs Technology and the drive, and so. But I do think that they still have their pens available online to buy and whatnot. I don't know if they do the personalization or custom jobs like they were doing. The one thing I never got made, and I really wanted Mark to make me before he passed away, and I didn't know he was going to pass away, was an actual police badge, a hemp badge, police badge made out of hemp composite. Because I do feel like I do police the hemp. By actual definition of the word police. I suppose, and so I always thought that would be pretty cool to have a 3D printed hemp composite badge. Even if it was like an ID, my name is, but it's a badge I'd wear around my neck. It shows, and if I was speaking or something. But anyway, that would be super cool. But there you have it, folks. On the product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show, 4 from the store, 1 from my door. This
Indeed.
week, no more.
Of course, brings us to the as of the recording of the show, as of yet award-winning greatest segment in internet history. One day, and believe me, once we win that award, I will never shut up about it. I will mention it every single show, and to the end of time, we'll hold it up. We'll show it to you. We have it prominently displayed there on Beach's little shelf to where you can see it, where it just dominates the screen. It'll be that big. But until that day, we continue on. We soldier on. Where fashion and hemp collide, where I ask Beach a very important question. He gives me a very important answer when I ask, what are you wearing, Beach?
That's right. If you're super curious and you know that I wear hemp head to toe pretty much every day, now you're going to know what it is on Wednesdays. What are you wearing, Beach? Well, let me tell you, it's very hempies orientated. I have a lot of hempies on today, without a doubt. Check out hempies.com. They have great goods. They've been around almost as long as we have, if not as long as I think they might have been 96 and we were 95, but very close. And we are always continuously trying to carry hempy stuff. But the hat on top there is a hempies hat. My T-shirt was printed by hempies with the old "Rise Up" um, fist on it. You can see I also have on a hempies belt, um, uh, keeping up the Prana shorts that I'm wearing, and in the pocket, just like I said, is my Green Springs. It kind of blends in there. It's almost camouflage
Yeah.
on the brown on brown Green Springs technology, um, and that is injection molded printed, not 3D printed. My desk stuff that I just showed you was actually 3D printed. And some of those pens may have been injection molded. I'm not sure because they do both on the pen. Underneath it all, you got some Hemptopia briefs, Satori no-show socks, and a pair of Converse. This is my only pair of Converse hemp shoes. Um, Crazy enough, they did make, I don't even know if they made official Chuck Taylors, but they made knockoff Chuck Taylors and hemp. There was a company making knockoff Chuck Taylors and hemp for a while, and I don't even have a pair of those. And I don't think that was officially Converse, but these are officially licensed Converse, like almost all hemp. I think the only thing that's not hemp on them might be the brown Converse sign on the side, and then the back, that little piece of brown on the back, may be the only non-hemp, though the shoe itself, the main part of the shoe, is made of hemp, which we like to see because that means they're using quite a bit of hemp. But I don't even know when these came out, and I don't know if Converse has really made any new ones. I haven't seen anything, so might have to go check out and see if Converse is still shooting a hemp shoe out there every once in a while. So now you know, folks. What are you wearing, Beach? There you have it. It's Brown Wednesday because I like dirt. I like dirt. I think I do that every time. That's a Red Hot Chili Pepper song, if you don't know, folks. Because they like dirt. They like dirt.
Unfortunately, I still have no news picks. I don't know what's going on
Man,
now, but
what the heck dizzle in the hizzle is going on, man?
technology not being our friend.
Apparently not. I don't know why. I wonder if I can change it all. Change it all. See, it says it's hooked up. Let me go to the online here. While I'm doing that, I will discuss my first news story, which is uh, interesting and well, it's apropos. It's a federal bill. Okay, now the newest federal bill that they are trying to get out there is called the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act. Okay. Now we know we have, I believe, what's called the MORE Act that's still sitting and stagnant. And they brought it up, and I thought it was going to go somewhere. And what that would have done was taken cannabis off the controlled substance list and also expunged all prior nonviolent federal drug charges, marijuana charges, so to speak. Marijuana. Now, what the Cannabis Administration Opportunity Act does, it does take cannabis off the controlled substance list. But in the hemp world, and this is pretty cool. They're trying to slide it in there, even though it's open. This might be in the next farm bill, but they're trying to raise the THC limit to 0.7%. So if the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act does pass, and again, this makes cannabis federally legal, takes it off the controlled substance list, then what we get there is we get a 0.4% increase in the legal allowable amount of THC in industrial hemp products. Where we'd like to see that right now is probably 1%. But I'll take 7%. That's, No longer, if you come up 0.4 to 0.6, are you considered hot? You'd be legal. So, we would we definitely support that increase in THC limits for industrial hemp. And eventually, they should just take it all off. And, and if they do, that's one thing that would, I think, could happen or make easier is if once they take THC, so to speak, off of the controlled substance list, then that would allow for people to have as much THC or CBD. And of course, it'd still be state law, probably. Okay, cool. And so it might still be up to the states as far as growing, say, a 1% THC high CBD, and then just taking the THC out, or you just put that on the label. This is so much percent CBD. It also has this much percent THC. I don't think it will change much. The full spectrum CBD game is, that is what it is. And so, there are two CBD customers out there, those that don't want anything else in their CBD but CBD, which is the isolate, and those that are okay having whatever else is allowable in there, which is the full spectrum. And then, of course, you have the weird broad spectrum, which is everything, but they actually take the THC out, which is actually not weird, because that's the one people that want the isolate really want. I mean, if you can guarantee 0% THC in it, they want those terpenes, they want those other cannabinoids, because when they call it the entourage effects, there's a belief out there, and science hasn't proved it, but it probably will eventually when we can prove it, that including all of those cannabinoids along with your CBD intake helps with that, or your THC for that matter. That's why cannabis marijuana is super hard to replicate pharmaceutically, because it has over 500 or something different genomes, so to speak, cannabinoids and terpenes and all this stuff. And all those working together is what makes it have the benefits that we get from it work so well. That's the opinion of the groups, most people, and I tend to hold with that opinion, and I think science will prove that eventually. That and maybe it'll be these cannabinoids with this. Once again, this really does this, and then these with this really do this, and that's where we are with cannabis. Period. Whether it's CBD, Delta 8, THC, THCO, or any of these, now we can start to figure out which ones specifically do what when it comes to the endocannabinoid receptors and the CB1 and CB2. And that'll get done so much quicker if the federal government would just take cannabis off the controlled substance list, period. And I say marijuana as defined by cannabis over 0.4% THC right now. And speaking of that, same on the federal level. Now we've got the 2023 Farm Bill coming up and in discussion for next year. Now, what we're seeing there right now is a push to put something in that industrial hemp wordage that would force the FDA to make it take a stand, FDA, one way or another, positive or negative. Everybody's looking for positive because this is so on the market that the FDA staying out of it's just crazy. Honestly, it just doesn't make any sense. So now, I haven't seen it yet. And again, we're very early in the discussions of the 2023 Farm Bill, but hopefully, call your senators, call your people that represent the people that would vote on it, or even the language of it, and put a bid in for that 1% THC. even 0.7, maybe if they want, if they think 0.7 is a logical move, um, then, we'd take 0.7 for now. Because maybe in the next farm bill, 5 years down the line, then we can get it up to 1. And it's crazy that we're now almost 5 years from the second farm bill. That the 2013 farm bill made and defined industrial hemp, made it legal, and it defined what it was. The 2018 even more defined what it was, and especially by saying that anything that comes from it, specifically saying that any extracts, products, anything that comes from industrial hemp is industrial hemp. And that's what's protecting the Delta 8 market right now. The legal THC 9 market right now. THC 9 can legally be extracted from industrial hemp, which means it can legally be sold anywhere that hasn't made industrial hemp THC 9 illegal. So, and I think that farm bill, hopefully, once again, that'll be the two things that would really be great. If we can make the FDA do something, and then raise that, any raise in THC limit, even if they only raised it to 0.4%, anything to me is a move in the right direction for the farmers, for the market, for everything. Again, when you're growing for fiber, zero matter. I mean, I think that should be like in the farm bill, like only grown for the extracts. Do you have to even worry about the THC limit? I mean, if you're growing hemp for fiber, there's no, who cares? It could be 23%. You're never going to see that in a pair of beans. The grain, even the grain, as far as there's no THC in the seed. Now, maybe because it, being that flour, if it was THC, it'd be on the outside, but the seeds are clean. They're either shaken clean or they're clean somehow before you would eat them. And so, again, there's no THC in the grain either. And so it doesn't matter what the THC content of the plant growing the grain is. And so, that's where we really, need to, maybe put some specific language in there that says, hey, everybody, stop treating this like it's a criminal plant. Like, point the finger at Ohio specifically. Maybe some other states that have outrageous licensing fees and testing and processing, and it's legislated right out of the opportunity for anybody to really want to do it in Ohio. In all honesty, it's just regulated and it's too much. It's too much. So hopefully Ohio will smarten up and make a change in that soon. But who knows? Who knows what'll happen? You got the states' rights, and so the states, and then our industrial hemp farming regulations through the Department of Agriculture are just ridiculously not cool. Not cool at all. All right, let's get on to some fun stuff. How about some fun stuff? Okay, so 1947, to prove it can be done, Thor Heyerdahl crossed the Pacific Ocean. And this is the vessel he crossed it in. Okay, it was made out of balsa logs and hemp rope. So the whole thing, the one thing holding his life together was hemp rope when it came to this very common thing. Kind of reminds me of the ship, and they may have based it after the ship that on Gilligan's Island. I think when they finally decide to get off of Gilligan's Island, they kind of build a ship that kind of looks just like this. I don't know if it's a ship. It's a raft, actually, is how it would be defined. I think a ship would have an engine. A raft has no engine. Well, what he was doing was trying to prove that humans could have crossed the Pacific Ocean before we gave them credit for crossing the Pacific Ocean. I think he stopped at or ended up at Easter Island. which is one of those places out in the middle of the ocean, like literally out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, that had humans living there, and then they disappeared. They have all these sculptures that they left behind to prove that they were there. And I think they, again, they got there and they had resources when they got there, but eventually, because it was such a smaller island, they couldn't sustain the resources and they didn't farm probably, or weren't, and so, but there you have it, proving you can go across the Pacific Ocean in a raft using balsa wood and hemp rope. I love it. This is kind of fun. This is called the Hard Knocks Art Exhibit, and it's using materials of First Designs, which I think is, I don't know, kind of an interesting way. But this lamp is made by artist Matthew Verdon, and it's hemp fabric, bamboo, and hemp twine. Okay, looks a lot like the vessel.
Yeah.
It's like it's got a sail on the front, and you take that back in. So it's a small scale raft or a light. But this is actually a part of an art exhibit where I think the artists were asked or were providing art made by materials that aren't used as commonly as they should be, or are more sustainable as well. And so it's a pretty cool looking lamp. I'll have to say, draw some hemp leaves on the side there, and it'll be all there. Okay, just biofiber. I love my Hempcrete stuff. We know this. Just about as much as I love my hemp composite. So this is a Canadian company, Just Biofiber, and they are looking to supply Hempcrete to builders. They showed a big warehouse of the Hempcrete blocks. They look like Legos, basically, because that's how you stack them and put them together. And then this is you can see, inside there, kind of, this whole wall has been filled with Hempcrete. And again, makes a great insulator. It keeps the cool in if you need it, keeps the hot in, keeps the warm in if you need it. And many other benefits to Hempcrete building. What I liked about it, is again, they were really promoting the Hempcrete building. They addressed the issue of places that won't approve it, just like Cincinnati. Cincinnati denied a permit to a builder or an architect, I should say, who wanted to use Hempcrete in a house, and those places exist. And there are other places that don't. You've got, companies in the operating in the United States now. Left Hand Hemp, Hempitecture, which I think I showed a Hempitecture place just recently, or a deal. Tiny Hemp Houses, which I've talked about before, and Hempire. Now, Hempire, I believe, is originally out of Australia. I've talked about them, but they do have a location here in the United States. And, most of these places are out Colorado, California, out west. But I can't. I'm sure that soon enough I will hear of a Hempcrete company operating here in the Midwest, trying to get things rolling. And so we'll see how that goes. But thank you, Just Biofiber out of Canada. And again, Canada probably has the largest amount of material that would be considered waste anywhere. And so, I don't know what China does with their shiv or herd, as they call it, the little pieces that we use in the Hempcrete when they harvest all of their fiber, because China is the largest producer or grower of hemp fiber in the world. And so I can't imagine that they get rid of it. I don't know if they sell it as animal bedding, or I don't know. I'm interested. I'd be interested to see what they do with that byproduct. That's for sure, because they should have a lot of it as well, just like Canada does, and that's why we're seeing all this coming out of Canada now is because there's a lot of waste in the Canadian grain industry when it comes to the stalk itself, of the entire stalk of the plant. So I'm glad to see that we're finding places for that to go. Okay, so Savannah College of Art and Design student was kicked out of her dorm for CBD oil. CBD oil. Now, there was some confusion. Apparently, she was narked out by her roommates because she's on TikTok, and this is how it kind of all started. Like, she's on TikTok, and then all of a sudden, her roommates narc her out for what I think they might have believed was a THC cannabis product, but it wasn't. But she was kicked out of her dorm for CBD. And, again, you see a lot. I saw, the comments on the article. It's like an art student using cannabis. How unheard of. But anyway, and so we'll see what happens with that, because I have a feeling that on appeal, or once maybe the school understands what CBD even is, and why, once again, it's a terrible idea to not encourage your students who are under stress to not use CBD. You were asking them to have more stress, not less, in their college education, no matter what they're doing. And so, shame on you, Savannah College of Art and Design. And again, I think it's really shame on the school, the campus authorities who came and raided her room and physically removed her from the dorm room for the CBD oil. Talk about, being super uneducated at a school of higher learning. There you have it again. But that's, still the ignorance around CBD. And apparently this is like a no, their campus is a no drug, alcohol, or something environment, But again, CBD is not a drug. CBD is not a drug. So come on. I've been talking about the Nikes a lot recently. And what I have found out is, if it's a fossil version, FOSSIL, fossil version of a shoe, then it's supposed to be on the hemp color line or have hemp in it. And I've seen this fossil referenced to Nikes before. This is the latest Nike, and this is actually a collaboration with Stussy, which I have talked about this collaboration with Stussy to make a hemp Nike. I think it's finally getting released. But the thing that I thought was interesting again is, keep your eye out for anything that's labeled, the fossil line, because that's your best shot of getting something that has hemp in it when it comes to Nike. I really like these Nikes. Again, they're very plain looking. They're just, just kind of your average running shoe looking shoe. And I love the idea of having hemp running shoes because they're great to walk in. I don't run, not much. I was running for a while. I need to get back into it a little bit. But my knees and ankles don't take that very well. But I do like Nikes, and I think Nikes, their air technology is some of the best cushioning on the planet. I know there's a lot of hate out there for Nike, but for me, it's kind of a love-hate. And I really think that Nike, since they were caught 20, 30 years ago with their shenanigans, has tried to make a move in the right direction, every direction that they go, to be a better world company. And introducing hemp and using hemp is definitely a move there, and we should encourage that one way or another. Even if you hate Nike, buying a pair of hemp Nike shoes tells Nike to use more hemp. And that's a great way to hate Nike. Change their opinion. That's why we opened 25 years ago. We put this stuff in front of people to prove that a pair of jeans should not be illegal to grow in the United States. A hat, anything. And supporting the hemp wherever you can is the way to get more hemp, which will save the planet without anybody even noticing if we do it right. We won't be called hippies because they won't even know what we're doing. Trying to save the planet by growing the greatest sustainable plant you can. How can it be a bad idea? Come on. More construction in this place. Man, what I wouldn't give to live in this house. Okay, this house is in Serbia, and all the walls, and so it's walls and windows. That's it, walls and windows all the way around this place. Sitting up on top of this hill, looking down into just nothing but beautiful nature. Um, but again, they wanted to build with the sustainable, clean product, and so they chose hemp for the walls. And again, all it is walls and windows for the most part. But it's just totally beautiful. It's almost a glass house or it's almost a hemp house. You decide. um, but a great use in hemp, no way, And again, in Europe, they don't. I don't think anybody that would build in Europe or even the Eastern Bloc, this is Serbia, would question using hempcrete. Like I mean, maybe once again, because we're looking at load bearing issues. Um, but this house in says the walls are made of lime, and it says the load bearing structure of wood. And so maybe I guess the load bearing is the walls, and so that's where which is crazy to me to think that you would trust wood as more than you would trust hempcrete as far as load bearing goes. But that's only because the science hasn't been proven. The tests haven't been done well enough to prove structurally whether it's good for load bearing. They don't want to use it until I think everyone's sure. And so that kind of makes sense. But all right. Lovely, lovely home in Serbia, no doubt. Indiana family that had to, I don't know if they had to, but they wanted to move to Colorado because they were going to treat their child's seizures with CBD, not pharmaceuticals. Okay. So child services comes in, says, we want blood work done on your kid. You can't, blah, blah. This isn't safe. If you don't give us this stuff, we are going to label your child as a child in need, which gives them the right to take the kid from the parents.
Wow.
Okay. All because they wanted to treat their child with over-the-counter CBD as opposed to the FDA-approved CBD meant because her seizures weren't epilepsy related, probably, and so she couldn't get a prescription for the inhaler that is made for seizures, approved by the FDA. By the way, and again, this is an ignorance of the child services to once again not know, and to believe anywhere. And this is the craziest part, that child services anywhere has the right to tell you how to treat your child if you truly believe it's the right thing. And I'm sure, one way or another. So this is crazy. But what they did was they did win on appeal. They won the right to sue the child services, and they moved to Colorado, and now they're treating their child with CBD and I believe THC even, because there's no worry there of the law, that's for sure. And I think that this is a great thing. I don't think they will lose. So this is going to set a precedent for child services all over the country, in my opinion, as to the way parenting and CBD or industrial hemp, should be regulated when it comes to parents and children. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But it's great that they, on appeal, they did have to go to appeal to just get the right to take this to court, which again is kind of crazy. But it's very difficult to sue the government, and that's what it is. The first time you try to sue the government, they'll always say you can't do it. I believe. I don't care what you're trying to sue them for. Nope, can't. Nope, we're the government. Can't sue us. But apparently, if you appeal and you come up with the right appeals, you can, and you can. But it's very difficult, no matter what you're trying to get out of them. And so, good for them for not letting the whole issue drop either. They could have moved out to Colorado. They could have said, sayonara, Indiana, and your stupid views, and never mentioned it again. But instead, they're going to hold someone responsible for this because and for the children, literally for the children that can benefit from this and should benefit from this. And so we'll see how that goes. CBD has been proven to inhibit growth of salmonella. Now, there are different salmonella strains, so to speak. But, if there was something, I don't know if I don't know if the food like meats would have to be treated with CBD to inhibit salmonella or what, but the fact that we can find any substance that can inhibit the growth of salmonella is a great thing. Salmonella poisoning is probably one of the largest reasons for food poisoning. And so, it's an issue in all fun. I shouldn't just say meat because tomatoes, vegetables, there's a lot of foods that commonly have salmonella or can get salmonella. And, it normally doesn't kill us. It just lets us know the food we ate wasn't good. But, I'm sure that people can die from salmonella tainted food. Whether or not, anything that we can prohibit or make, once again, food cleaner. That's the goal. There's a lot of humans that need to be fed on this planet, and there's no doubt about that. And if we can remove or decrease the substances, the bacteria and things that get into our food product and then make us sick, well, there you have it, folks.
Yeah.
So thank you, Alabama State University. They got the ball rolling on this. I'm sure that there is going to be more research done. I think this was actually what they found in the preliminary aspects of the research that they're going to do as well. So I think there's more to come from this Alabama State University project on CBD inhibiting salmonella. Let's get rid of it all. Now I have to go to a company who's close to that. It's Salawa, I think, and I think I've mentioned their T-shirts before. This is their Alpine Hemp logo T-shirt, and I love it because, to quote their description, they sell it for its natural comfort, functional performance, and low environmental impact, and because it is the strongest and most durable natural fiber known to man. And because it's the strongest and most durable natural fiber known to man. And so most of you should know that. I bring it up quite a bit. I usually just call it the strongest natural fiber. Durability is, I don't know if durability is, and again, durability is probably different than strength. I see what they're saying there, because durability may be the description of how long it lasts, and strength is literally how much weight you can put on it. How much will it take before it breaks? And so, the strongest and most durable natural fiber known to man. Um, and it's the company's name. It's spelled Salewa. 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 I don't know for sure, but it's the Alpine Hemp logo T-shirt. Um, and good for them.
Mhm.
And good for them. Because again, that's why the fiber should replace any and all fiber that it can, because it's sustainable and it doesn't require any chemicals. Um, I think if I mention it on every show, it's still not enough. It's just still not enough. And every time I say hemp is the strongest natural fiber on the planet, most durable natural fiber on the planet, it's like I can't believe that I have to tell people that because we don't use it. It's literally like, I mean, if it makes up even 5%, and it probably doesn't even make up 1% of the clothing market. Probably not even 1% of the clothing market is represented by hemp clothing. And 90% of that market is represented by cotton, which is the leading destroyer of our planet. It's terrible. And so until those numbers are reversed, we've got a way to go, but we can get there. We can get there. I mean, we could easily by 2040, be everything that we're making out of cotton right now, for the most part, can be made out of hemp. And again, cotton uses over a third of all of the chemicals used for any one agricultural crop on the entire planet. And that would be gone. That would be gone. All those chemicals no longer going into the ground, seeping into the water system, killing everything around, making the soil honestly unusable for probably anything but cotton. And we could move on. And once again, the planet would take this big, huge sigh of relief and get to keep breathing these sighs of relief. No one would notice. No one would care. It's just the right thing to do. And again, we end up with a beneficial product. Your clothing is now stronger. Your clothing will now last longer than your average clothing that you go buy now. No, unless it's silk. And then, who can maintain silk? I can know every piece of clothing that I have, I can throw into the washer. Of course, even my silk, I think I wash my silk hemp pillowcases. I have, because you can blend hemp with silk, because you can weave hemp as thin as silk, if you need to. And of course, I have been asked, well, what about silk is the strongest natural fiber? And my response to that is I don't think it's natural that you have to kill the animal. By boiling them, I believe, is the process to get the natural fiber. That's not natural. That keeps it from being natural. If an animal has to die, I think you throw out the natural part of it. So anyway, there you have it, folks. There's not too much going on out there as far as events. August 6th, you've got the Hempstock Music Festival, North Stonington, Connecticut. I like that. North Stonington, Connecticut. Check out the Hempstock. It's 3 days. And it's just a music festival. And then they have speakers and whatnot on the hemp part. August 18th through the 20th, you have the Southern Hemp Expo in Nashville. That's a huge event coming up. August 27th through the 28th, you have the 8th annual Blessing of the Hemp in Saranac, Michigan. And that will be a lot of very cool hemp stuff. I guarantee you that. September 24th, Hemp in the Holler. They're going to do another one, and that's at the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame and Museum in Mount Vernon, Kentucky. All right, well, on my script, I have questions and thoughts to end the show. I don't have any questions. My thoughts have been clearly expressed. Yes, let's raise THC. Yes, let's build with more hemp. Yes, let's make more hemp clothing. The one thing I didn't mention this week, I don't think, was hemp food. How about that? But yes, we should have more hemp food. We should eat more. I see. I did mention the grain a little bit earlier in the show. So, of course, it's on the list and it's important. And again, as far as a food substance, still requires no herbicides or pesticides. So you don't have to spray any herbicides or pesticides when growing for the grain. There are no pests. The worst that it gets is spider mites, probably. And once again, those are just collected, I guess, with the seed, and then when it's cleaned or shaken, they're gone. They're gone. And so, there is nothing that kills the plant when growing for fiber, or I should say, affects the plant when growing for fiber or grain that needs to be addressed. Only when you're growing for the flower. When it comes to cannabis, do you have to worry about pests? When it comes to weed control, it might be a little bit of a process, but you can start with a hemp field, and then in a couple years, the hemp will eventually drive the weeds out. If you don't start with any weeds, the hemp will grow so quickly that it will kill most of the weeds out. And so, once again, it doesn't need any herbicides for the most part. And it definitely doesn't need any pesticides because there are no pests that have an issue. Weeds might be the only issue, and 9 times out of 10 is not an issue because, most of the time the hemp comes up so quickly and grows so quickly, gets tall pretty quickly, that it pretty much chokes everything else out. And so there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Whether you're watching live or you're watching later, spread the word. Tell your friends to subscribe to the Jedi Hemp channel on YouTube. Like us and follow us and all those other places. And we'll be back next week. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptation.
See you all next week.